Welcome to the next episode of the CAPB Podcast. I am delighted to welcome a good friend of mine, someone I used to play football with, and someone who is a veteran of the Royal Engineers, the corps that my lovely brother served in, Dinger Bell from the Reform.
Good afternoon.
Welcome, mate.
How are we doing?
Yeah,
very well, mate. How are you?
Good,
I'm very well. Loving life. You both look well, I have to say. Yeah.
It's good.
And I can,
Really good lighting here. Really good lighting.
it is good light, especially the engineer flag behind you. That does
cool.
you justice, pal.
I've just it covers up for this.
Matty, you look really well. Honestly. You do, not that you both don't look well, but I obviously know Matty. You do look well, Matty. Beefed up here a bit, I can see.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to look at. Mate, honestly, it's weird. I speak to Paul about this a lot, right? Paul and I are fitter now than we ever were when we were in the army.
I'm going to say.
Do you know what I mean? It's weird, mate.
I don't know if it's. I feel healthier. I'm definitely not fitter. I've lost 2 stone in the last 20 months, but I definitely feel healthier, without doubt. And I'll allude to some of the things why as we go through. It's bizarre.
Yeah. We're looking forward to hearing it, mate. We're looking at hearing your story, and I'll tell you what it was that really brought you to attention. I knew you started the pub when you went into business over a year ago, but I saw something on LinkedIn, and it really brought like your coaching and stuff together. And we'll get onto all that a bit later. But you took your team out, and I can't wait to get onto that later. But that was These guys, this thing is doing it, which is ace. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, love it.
So obviously the podcast is we always open up with the opening question, which is tell us about your military career. Now, obviously, you served in the best corps within the British Army, so that is very so just going to get that out there right there.
Absolutely.
So just tell us a bit about
Okay, so I mean, for me, I thought I was going to be a footballer. I was at Carlisle, Crewe, Ipswich, Port Vale, and ended up at Stoke. I was training with the first team at 14, 15, and then they put me in front of a crowd one day, and I just couldn't kick a ball. And at that time, it was right. This lad's no good at football. When we fast forward to today's generation, it's like this lad can play football, but he needs a bit of help with his headspace here, and we can do that. And all the kids get that today. So for me, it was walking past the careers office and putting my head in. It really, really was. And I went in, and it was. I always remember come and have a sit down, have a coffee, and I was like, "Oh, this is quite nice, And next thing I knew, I was, sort of felt like I was being enrolled. I then said, right, I'm going to go next door, go in the Royal Marines one, and the guy said, right, jump on this pull-up bar, you young man. And I was like, what the hell? I don't fancy this. So I went back into the Army Careers office and said, yeah, I'd like to join up. So I did all my Domino's tests. And then a month later, July the 4th, 1990, I was a junior leader, just under 16 years of age, down at Old Park Barracks in Dover, thinking, right, what have I done here? I'm either going to absolutely love this or I'm going to hate it. There's going to be no in between. I think because I had a bit of a rocky childhood, I absolutely loved it. That whole year in basic training, I felt like I belonged, and I felt a sense of teamwork, and I felt a sense of pride. I hadn't got the cap badge thing, although I was in the Royal Engineers. You don't know that rivalry at such a young age. And then very quickly, I was posted out to Hamel because I was a footballer. And 28 Engineer Regiment was the home of football within the British Army. They were winning every Army Cup, winning anything that was on the table, they would win it. So I went out there, and I really enjoyed Hamel. Not just the football side. I enjoyed you're away from home, there's no distractions, and people would finish work, and the lads would always go out.
Now, if we fast forward, you had a really strong career in Royal Engineers. You're an incredible footballer and an incredible coach. We haven't managed to get onto that.
Yeah.
And we're going to have to part the fact that you're one of the most successful managers the Army senior team has had, and they haven't managed to replicate what you achieved since.
Yeah.
But in the interest of the podcast and the interest of time, mate, when it came towards the end of your career, when did you think, and what was the process for you to go from leaving the Royal Engineers transitioning to Civvy Street and taking on a pub?
Okay. So I remember being RSM at Chilwell. It's the worst job in the world, by the way, for me, being an RSM. Most loneliest job. I'm people orientated. I couldn't stand it. I enjoyed the challenge, the thought, and I had 22 W01s in the mess who all thought they should be the RSM because they were clerk of works and why can't I carry a stick and all this, which I think I dealt with really well. And on the leadership side, I was brilliant. On the management side, I was terrible. It bored me to death and I couldn't wait to get out of there. Not because it was Chilwell, just because I knew I'd spent my whole last 12 years wanting to get here and I decided, that's it, I'm leaving. I knew if I stayed, I'd have to go through the commissioning process, which I bottled, in total honesty. I thought, I don't want to fail. I'm not doing it. They'll find me out on that. They'll definitely find me out on that. I've got away with it. They'll find me out. So I knew deep down in the bottom of my gut, this is the right time for me to go. And then somebody got hold of me and said, how do you fancy teaching leadership and management for a apprenticeship company? I said, yeah, okay, then I'll give that a go. And I went to work for an apprenticeship provider. So I had a spring in the step. Right, leadership and management, I could talk about that all day. But I didn't get the apprenticeship side. So I got out of there very quick. Somebody got hold of me on LinkedIn and said, look, we're looking for a high performance coach to come and work. In fact, they called it a leadership development coach. Interview went really, really well. And then they offered me the job. I started having a spring back in the step. I felt like I had a purpose. I remember one day coming home, the sun was shining, and I go back to, I'm just going to flip back here. And when I went on the level 7 coaching and mentoring course, in fact it was at Deep Cut in the Sergeant's Mess, I went on this course, and the guy at the front, Mark Woodhouse, I don't know if you know Mark Woodhouse, he's got his own company called Performance People, delivers coaching and mentoring, neurolinguistic programming and other stuff. He's one of my best mates now. But he asked the question on this course that wound me up for years because I couldn't answer it. And the question was, I want you all, so there's 12 of us in this room, they're all retired lieutenant colonels, retired majors, and there's Dinger. I think I was a staffy at the time. What's your purpose in life? Write it down. And I looked around and everybody's scribbling. And I was like, not comfortable with this, I don't know the answer. What are people writing down? And I said, Mark, do you mean like, what's my goals? And he said, no, what's your purpose in life? I said, I don't fucking know. And he went, don't worry. He said, one day it'll just come to you. He said, I'm not going to ask you all what they are and you're going to have to read them out. I said, all right, okay. But everybody wrote something down. I was like, they all know what their purpose in life is and I don't know what mine is. So coming home from Manchester, fast forward, however many years later, I got off the train at Macclesfield. It's a beautiful day. Drove home, still living on my own. And as I opened the car door, I'd had a really good day with some ops managers working on their confidence and their motivation around their team leaders. Really, really good day. And I said, I know what my purpose in life is. I 100% know what my purpose in life is. And to this day, my purpose in life is to help as many people as I can be as successful as they want to be. And success is measured by them, not me. Success in their personal life, their sport, their business, running a business. So Becky, my missus, she was working for Co-op Bank, doing really, really well, smart job, but got offered voluntary redundancy. And at the same time, her brother was running a pub, a really good pub called the Reform Inn. So just outside the league, on the edge of the Peak District, beautifully. He'd spent a lot of money, done a lot of work on it. And they'd had enough of it in terms of running a pub, because it is hard work, which I'll get to, and said to Becky, look, do you want to run the pub for us? So Becky said, what do you think? I said, babe, it's up to you if you feel you can do it. So Becky took the pub on for them. And then about a year later, she said, how do you fancy me and you running the pub as our business? Not their business, as our business. And I went, what? What do I know about running pubs? She said, about as much as me. She said, but what I do know is you're really good with people and you walk your talk and your values are important to you. I said,
it's like the dream, isn't it? I always remember. Yeah. I always remember, mate. I always remember, like, it was like, oh, leave the army, run a pub. Yeah, that'd be ace.
Honestly.
Run my own pub. But the reality is, mate, and this is, is that's a risk, This day
Massive.
and age, taking over a pub, when the amount of pubs I see, good pubs, closing down.
Mate,
so why did
100
you
a
think
month.
you could make it a success, mate? Why did you think you could make it a success?
Well, the irony of it was, the day she asked me, I'd just been headhunted for a job on double the salary with a company car, laptop, working from home 2 days a week. And, it was big bucks. And I got home to tell Becky, she's like, I've got an idea. And I was like, oh, yeah, I've got this news. Let me tell you. And I was like, oh, how do I tell her? Anyway, I said, right, okay. I said, let's do it. I said, but I want to run it as a business, not as a pub. And Becky said, good, because I do. So I said, if we truly believe what we say, then our behaviour should reflect it. And she said, what does that mean? I said, if we want to run it as a business, then it has to reflect that in everything that we do. And she went, yeah. I said, right, my mate, Matt Woodhouse, he's going to come up and spend 3 days with you. The pub's shut now, by the way, at this time. Cobwebs, all cold, all that sort of stuff. You're going to sit in the snug with him. I'll light you a fire, but you're going to sit there from 8 in the morning till 8 at night and go through a business project, which I've gone through all before, and all the models around leadership, coaching and mentoring, and then we're going to build our business on the back of it. Right, okay. So I paid Mark to come up and sit for 3 days, because I truly believe if you get something free, you've not invested. So I said to Mark, I'm going to pay you. Yeah, I said, I'm going to pay you full whack, mate, because the return on investment is Becky totally queuing into it and me going, I've spent $3,000 there, let's get the most out of it. So Becky went through this. We then went, right, we need a vision, we need a mission, we need a strategy. So it's now business talk. What staff do we need? We need a kitchen, we need a bar, we need a front of house, we need pot wash. So right now we've got 26 staff. We've got 5 full-time chefs, 3 part-time chefs, a bar manager, 2 general first-line managers, 2 shifts manager, and a head of bar. Becky is director, back office, admin, kitchen. I am director, people, basically, if you want to look at it like that.
Yeah.
So we spend 3 months then, on the back of that, getting the pub ready. So in terms of visually, kinesthetically, what does it look like, sound like, feel like? What's it going to look the moment you walk in? What's that wow factor? We then wrote our values down, who we are, our identity, and then we recruited on those values. Everybody we interviewed, it was, tell us your background. Okay, you've done it a bit before. I want to know you. Tell us about you. What's important to you? And when we got the feel of the right values, we went, right, okay, we'd like to offer you the job. So we now turn over in terms of people through the doors from a quiet country pub. So yesterday we did 120 covers on a Wednesday. Tuesday's the same. Most Tuesdays and Wednesdays are like that now. Friday, 300. Saturday, 300. Sunday, 300. Steak night tonight, we do 150, 200 covers. Full operation in mode.
I think the whole thing's such a success story, and I think your approach to the business is really it's nice to hear. Now we are running out of time shortly, and we'll get onto the wider reform in. But just something I want to pick up on is you've gone into it totally focused on making the business a success. There are so many people, like for me, I don't know if I could have done that. I think I'd have gone into it and I'd have been all heart.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I'd have been like, this will look great, and I wouldn't have put the detail, the level of detail that you and Becky have put into that.
I'll tell you what else,
Matt. You're turning over 150 people on a fucking Wednesday afternoon. You know what I mean, mate?
Yeah. I tell you what, though, it's the hardest thing I've ever done. So I've lost 2 stone since we opened the doors because I probably work 60 hours a week. I'm up at 6:30 in the morning. I don't have to. I could get up at 8, 8:30, but I get up and I'm like, right, I'm awake. Cup of tea, like what needs doing? Because you're a plumber, you're an electrician, you're a carpenter and joiner, you're a cleaner, you're the groundsman, you cut the grass, you're a painter. Yeah, I'm not a welder.
No welding.
But you know, sometimes you come in, one of the chefs is right, I'll go on the pass, or Becky goes on the pass. Right, last night, pot wash, still in at 10:30. Right, we'll jump on the pots and do pots for half an hour. You do everything. You absolutely do. And if you don't buy into that in this industry, you're going to fail. I know a lot of people who are quite happy to go, yeah, run a pub, sit at the end of the bar like that, and expecting everybody to do the work. But people think that's what running a pub is. It isn't. I'll tell you that now. You work unbelievably hard. My missus is the hardest working person I've ever met. And I've got to keep up with her. She inspires me every day to get up and do what I do. Now, don't get me wrong. It comes with a lot of benefits. You're not working for anybody. Your success is determined by only you. 100%, without doubt. And I would never, ever go back to working for anybody else.
I just want to touch on two things. Firstly, is the recognition of your team. You recruited them, you and Becky. You recruited them. You had a successful year. How important do you think it is to show and recognise your success with your team? I saw that you took them all for a day out in London, mate, and I'm a big fan of that. You know, you take responsibility for failures, but you share success with your team. Totally.
That's exactly it, Matt. It is. And so I've got a young manager who works for me. He's 19, Alfie. In fact, he's 20, he's just turned 20. And he came up to me the other day and said, Si, I can't thank you enough for giving me the opportunity to be a shift manager. I went, Alfie, all I did was give you a dance floor to dance on. You're the one who's danced on it. You've had to put in the hard work. And you know if you didn't, you wouldn't be here. And he's now got aspirations to do an apprenticeship, to go and learn more. But I also say to him, there will be other types of conversations, Alfie, when it goes wrong, but you take them in your stride and you reflect on it and you learn from it. The success of this place is not down to Becky and I. We've just gone, that's where we'd like to go on a journey. If you want to come on that journey with us, then come and join the ride and hit the bumps in the road with us. Take all the peaks, take all the troughs. There'll be some amazing days, there'll be some crap days, but do you know what? We're all in it together. We will look after you, you look after the customers, and we'll be just fine. And I think if you're not, and you shouldn't do it over the top, thank your people all the time, because it becomes in that ear and out the other ear. You should recognise success and you should recognise where things haven't been successful. I won't say failure because I don't believe in failure. It is just feedback. There's good and there's really good. And you should tell people that they are doing a good job. And you should also validate why you're telling them they're doing a good job. You're doing good because you're doing A, B, C, D. So they know. Because I remember being a footballer, in fact, very quickly, coming off the pitch, the game of my life, and Ali Ginn saying to me, Dinger, everything you touched today went in the back of the net that pass. You were unbelievable. What was so different? And I went, I don't know. I was just in the zone. Now, I would love to have known what I did that day differently so I could repeat it. But we tend not to tell people the reason you were good was because A, B, and C. So I'm very much in the habit of all the stuff I've learned from a military career and being an army football coach around people like Joey Collins, you know, Dean Bowgens, who now and again just say something that just, I've not thought about that. Yourself, Matty, people who just say stuff and you're like, that is a nugget I'm going to cherish forever. And I think that is why you do what you do with your staff. And you walk in your talk as well. You can't say, yeah, we can do really, really well and the success will come and the thank yous and then not do it because people go, you're full of shit. You say one thing and do another. That isn't leading. And I've seen these bad leaders in the military, blaggers, and I've seen them in what we call City Street as well. I've also seen the amazing ones in the military and the amazing ones in City Street.
Dinger, we're coming towards the end of the pod now. And this is where we like to say, okay, why the reform in? This is like, of all the pubs in all of the UK, why is the reform in a success?
I've got to be careful not to slag the other ones off in the air. The reform, and we're a pub just as you go into the Peak District. We're a pub restaurant, and our motto is good food, good drink, good company. We're not saying excellent food, excellent drink, excellent company, because we're not pitching ourselves at Michelin star up there. But we're also not saying, yeah, it's all right, the drink, it's all right, the food, and the company's all right. So with that in mind, we employ people who are going to be able to share our vision with us and produce that on a daily basis. The good food, we have got amazing chefs who are very passionate about what they do and who are very articulate and business sense as well in terms of putting something together. We've got a good mix. The good drink is we're very competitive compared to all the other businesses in the area in terms of pricing. Our company, we've got such a lovely blend. We were very lucky. We've got a really big bar area that's very subtle, that all the locals and people who visit have to walk past in order to get into where the dining is to get the experience. And a lot of people have to be able to sit around the bar area because they want that sense of atmosphere and that sense of belonging. And I think everything we do is underpinned by our values. And our values, we use the reform as a mnemonic. So the R is respect everyone. The E is everyone together. F, be flexible. The O is be open and honest. If we make mistakes, we put our hands up and say, we got that wrong. The second R is take responsibility for the good stuff and the stuff that wasn't so good. And the M, I'd have a bit of military in there. Sometimes you just got to make it happen. Just do it. Just get on with it and make it happen. And people come in and we display our values at the meet and greet. And then at the end of the meal, they go, some people will come to you and go, I've seen all that tonight. That's really, really good. You're a business who walks their talk. Do we make mistakes? Absolutely we do. Do we work hard to put them right? We always will, and we always will. We are a business that is growing. We're proud of what we do. We're proud of all the people who work here, or even the people who come and deliver to us, the butchers, the greengrocers, the fishmongers who want to be part of the journey, the Daltons, local ice cream, everybody's local, everything's homemade. And we just feel like this project we're doing is something for our customers to share with us, and they do. And we're very lucky, and I think our reviews reflect that as well. So, yeah.
Dinger, thank you so much, mate. To have a business which is, and we've spoke to a few people about their business and how important values are, and I think that career in the military allows you to understand the value of having values. You understand what that does, having an ethos, having a culture, and to be able to run a business like you and Becky do and instill from scratch. You're not working for someone else saying I can kind of lean into some of them values. You've created your own, mate, and to make it a success, it isn't a shock. It isn't a shock to anyone, and I can't wait till we share the podcast with people. Maybe people who haven't heard from you in a while, mate. Maybe people who you serve with will think, I knew whatever he does, he was going to be successful, mate. Well, I can't wait, mate. Honestly, we're going to have to wrap it there, mate. But thank you so much for sharing your journey. An incredible career, an incredible transition from. All right, one of the incredible cores, and that using that stopgap in between leaving, continue to develop your leadership to taking a business from, as you say, cobwebs and cold to being packed every day, delivering value to your customers is brilliant, mate. And I just want to say, thank you so much for giving the time. I can even see that you're serving customers now, so thank you so much for taking the time out.
It's a pleasure, mate. Listen, thanks for giving us a platform. Really appreciate it, and it's great to see you doing what you're doing. Appreciate it. It's good. It really, really is good, and I'll be sharing everything that you do.
Cheers, Dinger.
Spot on.